Donald Trump is panicking. The war against Iran is spiraling out of control. Crude oil prices are surging above $90 a barrel. The economy is collapsing. Markets are crashing here in the United States. The Strait of Hormuz is essentially still effectively closed. A ship in the region there seems to have been struck and on fire. And the U.S. economy unexpectedly lost 92,000 jobs in February, below the expectations where there was supposed to be a 58,000 job gain, which still would not have been good. The unemployment rate was 4.4% above expectations of 4.3%. And this marks just the second monthly job loss since the 2020 pandemic. The U.S. labor market is clearly weakening. The Kobayashi letter explains. Now, what did Donald Trump do with all of this going on? Well, he posted the following message on his social media platform. There will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. After that and the selection of a great and acceptable leaders, we and many of our wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Iran will have a great future. Make Iran great again. Make Iran great again. MIGA. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Then Donald Trump began posting photo after photo after photo of Bill Maher back from February. And then Donald Trump started attacking Bill Maher. 8 posts in a row attacking Bill Maher while the United States is at war. Very bizarre and deranged behavior. Then Donald Trump calls up CNN, who he attacks all the time, but he calls up Dana Bash from CNN. And here's what she writes. I just got off the phone with Donald Trump where he rated the war with Iran at a 12 or a 15 out of 10. He told me we're doing very well militarily, better than anybody could have ever even dreamed, he says. On Cuba, Donald Trump said Cuba's going to fall pretty soon. He said he's going to put Marco over there, referring to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And we've got plenty of time, but Cuba's ready. On rising gas prices, Donald Trump said, that's all right. It'll be short term. It'll go way down very quickly. And when I asked him about other Gulf countries being hit, Donald Trump said Iran made a terrible mistake when they attacked them. And the countries in the Middle East, they're doing unbelievable, Donald Trump said. On the next leader of Iran, Donald Trump told Dana Bash of CNN, it's going to work like it did in Venezuela. And when I asked if he's okay with having another religious leader from the Islamic Republic, for example, Donald Trump said, I may be. Yeah. He added the next leader needs to treat the United States and Israel very well. And on the Texas GOP Senate race, Donald Trump said he will make a decision fairly shortly, but that he wants to have the full and complete Save America Act, which now includes trans issues. We have to have voter ID. We have to have proof of citizenship. We have to have no mail-in ballots except the military, illness, disability, and travel. We have to have no men in sports, no men in women's sports. I added 2 things, and we have to have no transgender operations for the youth in the SAVE Act. I added that, Donald Trump said. So with that taking place, when the stock market opened, it tanked right away. Crude prices surged right away, surging above $90 a barrel. In Qatar, they're saying you may see the price of oil surge to over $150 per barrel soon. Take a look at what the Strait of Hormuz looks like right here. Over the last 24 hours, it's effectively shut down. The United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Center has issued an advisory of an attack on the Strait of Hormuz right by Oman on a tug with unknown projectiles. We went through the economy data right there. Then Donald Trump posts, we are moving thousands of people out of various countries throughout the Middle East. It is being done quietly but seamlessly. Quietly, but well, you're posting it on social media to everybody. The State Department under Secretary Marco Rubio is doing a great job, Donald J. Trump. You know, the State Department had no evacuation plan because they didn't even know we were going to war. So we stranded many United States citizens in the Middle East as a result of Donald Trump's disastrous war. They can't get out. The State Department's posted messages, as you know, saying, evacuate now, find a commercial flight. And these commercial airports are under attack by Iran as a result of Donald Trump's disastrous war there. But Donald Trump had to send his sycophants on the various networks this morning. For example, he sent Hassett. Kevin Hassett is a national economic advisor to make the rounds. And with all of this really bad jobs numbers, Kevin Hassett says it's actually great. This is what we expected. These numbers are amazing. Watch Kevin Hassett play this clip.
Are there enough asterisks in Jim's words to make this number make more sense?
Well, I think, Jim's right that there have been so many strong indicators this month that it's something of a surprise, but there's some weather, there are strikes on the West Coast, and I think that we also have this birth-death model, the change in the procedure at the BLS. And so I think what we need to start doing with these jobs numbers, at least on the payroll side, is take the average over a few months. And if you take the average over a few months, we had a surprisingly positive one last month and a surprisingly negative one this one. But on average, it's about what we expect to be seeing because immigration has gone down by so much that break-even employment is probably in the sort of 30 or 40,000 jobs a month range. And so, yeah, I think it's consistent with everything else we're seeing, which is that the economy is really strong.
And then on state regime media, which calls itself Fox, they do what state regime media does. And you have Maria Bartiromo and all the Fox guests looking at the horrible economic data that I just shared with you, with the job losses, with unemployment ticking up to 4.4%, 95,000, jobs lost. We were supposed to have a 58,000 job gain. By the way, that's before the war. That's before all those were February's numbers. Okay. Wait till you see March's numbers. But then Fox are like, this is actually pretty good. And the reason this happened is because of the weather. There was bad weather in February. That's what they're going with. Here, play this clip.
Charles, you've got to also counter in the fact that we had a horrible winter. Mm-hmm. Okay. The February storms caused a lot of issues. People did not want to leave. Maybe look at that for the retail sales. But even in January, it was messy. As you heard from Jerry, it's always messy. It's the month after the holidays, people returning stuff, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. What else do you look at this morning, Cheryl, that's informing?
Well, the retail sales number that we got crossing along with the jobs report, I thought was very informative. Look, 3.2% annual retail sales year over year, not adjusted inflation, but that is a strong number. The unemployment rate, it's, a little bit higher than it was over the last year, but historically the unemployment rate in this country is at a very low level. And also, to your point about the weather, that was a factor in this report along with the strike in healthcare. And that was at the top of the government's list this morning when they released the report. It was the third line in that report. They highlight this because they want to make sure that matters.
And by the way, state regime media was nervous. Trump was nervous this morning. So they were trying to put everybody out there. They have Lori Chavez DeRemer, who's under investigation right now for her own personal misconduct, allegations that she's been having an affair, drinking on the job, going around using our taxpayer dollars to party in Vegas and all of these places. Her husband was apparently banned from the labor building based on sexual harassment allegations, that he couldn't even go into the building anymore. Against sexually harassing other people at the Labor Department. Those were the allegations, at least. She goes on state regime media. Here's what she says. Play this clip.
The midterms are about roughly 9 months away. How soon can we expect the jobs picture to pick up sharply? More jobs coming into the economy. When are we going to see that?
Well, I think we have seen that tick up a little bit. Again, this number in its raw numbers is not something we wanted to see, but overall we're still better than what we inherited from the Biden administration. So again, in the last 2 months, Stuart, 60,000 jobs have been created, and we need to remind ourselves that I'm working with our community colleges and our tech schools and our private industries so that we recognize what the market demands are and get in that trained workforce as soon as possible.
And more from Chavez DeRemer right there. Play this clip.
Madam Secretary, 92,000 jobs out in February. Fewer jobs in healthcare, fewer jobs for information services because of AI. The weather hurt things. Government employment down. If you add it all up, it doesn't look good for the Trump economy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you. I think we have to address the fact that this is not a good report in its raw numbers, but we have to also talk about why this possibly has happened, this snapshot in time. It was mentioned, the weather. We saw healthcare numbers go down. We saw a record strike in California, over 30,000 jobs lost there, but that has been resolved. So we're hoping to see those numbers tick back up next month. But overall, we've gained 60,000 new jobs over the last 2 months. So this is important for us to recognize what the message is here, what the noise is, and how focused the Labor Department is in making sure that we can bring back those jobs in construction, manufacturing. We're seeing the confidence go up. We've seen the investments that the president has made. I've said it over and over again. The president and I talk. We visit on this often. It's important to him. We're laser focused to make sure that we have that skilled workforce. And it's just going to take some time. So we're recognizing what happened this month, and we're going to stay laser focused to bring those jobs numbers up.
Yeah, as this one account says, the labor secretary is under investigation for having an extramarital affair with a staff member. Her husband is barred from the building where she works because he's accused of sexually harassing 2 women. And her top 2 staffers just got fired for unethical behavior. Then they bring on Chris Wright, energy secretary, and he's like, I wouldn't really worry about the gas prices. They're going down. They'll just be this way just for a few months. Everything's going to be okay. Here, play this clip.
These are all temporary. We're not going. This is not change in policy.
To that point, when will there be some relief for folks at the pump? Do we expect this to last weeks, or do you think, with the mitigation that the administration is putting in place right now, that we should see the gas prices start to come back down?
Yeah, I think it's of order weeks. I would say in the worst case, but it's weeks, not months. And look, Iran has been an escalator of energy prices 47 years, the whole history of their regime. We've got a little bit of an interruption right now to finally put an end to their ability to wreak havoc, to kill Americans, and to terrorize their neighbors.
Let's zoom in on some of the February job numbers. Heather Long, economist, says, here's our key takeaways from the dismal February jobs report. U.S. firms aren't hiring with all this uncertainty. The U.S. has lost a lot of jobs since May 2025. We're back to 4.4% unemployment, one of the highest rates since 2021. Healthcare had been the only bright spot, but even that was negative 28,000 in February due to strikes. Young workers and workers of color are struggling the most. And she says, important point, February was a dismal jobs report, but look closer at who was suffering the most in this frozen job market. Young people, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans. These are the groups that have had the biggest uptick in unemployment rates thus far. A few other points to note just how what a mess this Trump regime is. So the U.S. Development Finance Corporation is $200 billion short of the capacity needed to underwrite insurance policies now for ships going through the Strait of Hormuz, per Financial Times. So the U.S. the U.S. Development Finance Corporation was ordered by Donald Trump on March 3rd to give insurance to vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, in order to give them assurances that they can leave and get out of there. But the DFC reportedly has only $154 billion of the $352 billion needed to underwrite insurance policies. Raising the total liability cap for the US DFC would require an act of Congress. Traffic in the Strait of Hormuz is now down by over 90%. So Trump said, we're giving you insurance, but the insuring entity did not have the money. Doesn't that define Trump right there? As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, says, showing a chart of jobs being created in 2022, 2023, 2024, there were no jobs lost the entire time of the Biden administration. There was never a month of job losses. Never one. Under the Trump regime, multiple months of jobs lost. Wow, did something happen to the U.S. in January 2025? And by the way, the war in Iran is spiraling out of control. We're learning that Russia is providing intelligence and weapons to Iran, although that shouldn't be a shocker. And also, we believe China is providing resources to Iran as well. Reports are coming out. According to 3 U.S. officials who spoke to the Washington Post, Russia is providing Iran with intelligence on locations of U.S. ships, aircrafts, personnel and assets in the Middle East, and what has been described as a pretty comprehensive effort. When asked earlier this week about the influence of China or Russia in the conflict with Iran, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth responded, "They're not really a factor here." And this is what Qatar was saying. Qatar says that the Iran war could bring down the economies of the world and warns oil prices may see $150 within days as Gulf countries prepare to shut down production. Qatar predicts that all Gulf energy exporters will shut down production within days. Even if the war ended immediately, it would take Qatar weeks to months to return to normal. Qatar predicts that natural gas prices will rise 400%. Qatar says global GDP will be hit if the war continues, even for a few weeks. Qatar says the war will delay all expansion plans for the country's energy industry. U.S. oil prices are now, as you see, surging ahead. And as I explained to you, we're learning about China's assistance while Donald Trump is out there thirsty for a state visit to China. U.S. intelligence suggests that China may be preparing to provide Iran with financial assistance, spare parts, and missile components, according to multiple sources that have told that to CNN. There you have it, everybody. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. We'll keep you posted every step of the way.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.